Boom, here we are on the, I don't know, 12th edition of Matt's Chats. And we just go up and up. The stars keep coming. And before I introduce this next guest, I'm going to tell a little story. I was away with my family on a fly drive across the States and put on the radio. And I've done this about 3 times in my life where I've stopped the car. Once, I think, was for Amy Winehouse singing Back to Black. Another time was I was driving to France and I heard on the radio Rolling the Deep, Adele. And I've just stopped the car. I thought, wow, something. Well, driving to Monument Valley and I stopped the car and I heard a song called What's the Matter with You? And I stopped and I thought, who the hell is this singer? She is something else. And the announcer on the radio came in. Well, that was Elles Bailey from Birmingham. No, sorry, Bristol, which I think is nearer London in the United Kingdom. So I started looking for Elles Bailey, who's actually a carpenter in Nottingham. But then it's with great pleasure I get to introduce the one and only Elles Bailey. Hello.
Hey, I didn't even know I get radio play in the States. So
how about that?
That's so cool. I love that so much. What an introduction. And also to sort of, I'd stop the car if I heard Rolling in the Deep for the first time, and I'd stop the car if I heard Amy Winehouse for the first time. So to be in that company, I feel incredibly honoured.
Well, you should be. I mean, the way someone described it the other day is it's Elles Bailey's world. We just live in it, and we do right now. And award-winning. You just picked up another couple of awards, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm utterly delighted. Just feels very special. And I've it's been last year was a long, amazing, but also incredibly hard working year. So to get those awards it does feel pretty good. No,
it's thoroughly deserved. It really is. It's you have a very unique voice, and it draws you in. I mean, very few singers can make me do that. I mean, obviously I'm a singer myself, not in your level, but I do. And I listen to singers, and I was very lucky to see Ray Charles in concert in New York and Tramps, and that was a very special occasion. And, watching Christina Aguilera sing It's a Man's World as a tribute to James Brown was something that just blew me away. And you have that about you, your voice. Obviously, I started listening to more and more stuff. And, the more I listened to it, the more I loved it. And your voice, you've got it's very earthy, very smoky kind of voice. Is there a reason for that? How did you develop that?
Well, I guess sort of originally I got really ill when I was younger, and I spent 17 days on a ventilator in a coma. And then when I came off the ventilator and sort of started to get better, I had to learn how to walk, how to talk. I'd sort of forgotten everything. And then when I started to talk again, my voice had just sort of completely changed. And this was what I was left with from the age of 3. So, and then I guess over the years, it's just it continues to develop. And I do feel, if you listen to old recordings of me when I was sort of 18, 19, my voice is completely different to sort of how it sounds today. It's extra husky at the moment just because I'm so tired.
I thought it was just because you were talking to me. I thought.
No, coming back from New Zealand and then going straight into the Americanas, I was just like, oh my gosh, I just don't even know which way is up at the moment. So.
It does take a while. I did the trip to Australia, and honestly, it takes you days to recover. You don't know you come in or going.
I had no jet lag. None of us had jet lag going out. And coming back, I mean, my husband is just so brutal, but great fun as well to come straight to the Americana Festival. So
that's brilliant. I saw that, and you picked up an award for best live act, best singer. Yeah. I mean, how many awards have you got? You must have a whole cabinet.
I've literally just done an interview with ERB magazine, and I was saying, so at the moment I'm in the process of renovating our house. I mean, it's been a very long process, started in September 2020. And the last thing to get done is my studio. You can just see there, that's the sort of the breeze block of my studio in the garden. And I'm so excited because I'm going to put my awards in my studio. But at the moment, studio isn't, up and running. So they're currently in my brother's office. And yesterday I drove out my awards and he's got all my awards on his cabinet in his office.
Could end up being like a mausoleum at the end with just like the whole sort of like walking. So that's it. So you obviously, and obviously with that developing that voice, it's not quite in the same way like Bon Scott and Lemmy with the car crashes, the motorbike crashes, but it sounds like an illness. I think I read somewhere that it was bacterial pneumonia. Was that correct, or is that?
Yeah, viral and bacterial pneumonia, and it was March of 1993, and I got the last ventilator available at Southmead Hospital. So when March 2020 rolled around and we were, in the news, it was all talking about we could run out of ventilators. I was like, it sort of really struck home just how incredibly lucky I was that, I managed to get on a ventilator. It could have been
how incredibly lucky we are. You did. But the voice, I was just saying, it's very unique. I used to always like Karen Carpenter's voice. I always thought her to read me a bedtime story, that kind of voice. And now, wonderfully, you've got your radio show on Planet Rock, and I love listening to that. I love listening to it. And you've got a great radio voice. It's really good. I mean, obviously, someone heard you and thought, well, we've got to have her on the radio. And so I mean, how did that come about?
Literally, totally out of the blue, and like what it's like as an artist. And I am, I've done this all independently, and which meant I've spent a lot of my musical life hustling, and most things you get is because of the hustle. And I tell you what, this just totally came out of the blue. I'd never even sort of gone into my mind that I could ever have a show on Planet Rock, but my husband has always said to me, Els, I just wish you'd do some radio as well. Like, you're so perfect on the radio. And I was like, oh, nah. And yeah, I did a couple of interviews with Planet Rock, and then they asked me to sit in on International Women's Day to do a show. Oh. And I guess that was maybe like part of my audition. And about 3 weeks later, I got a phone call from Planet Rock saying, could you demo up a demo for us? And so I did. And then they were like, fab, do you want to start in July? And I was like, yeah. So it really came out of the blue, and it was such an amazing, it's just a really wonderful thing to do. And I think for me, I'm constantly always looking to raise the voices of females in blues and in rock, and this really gives me a chance to, first of all, find new artists, but to also be able to champion women on the scene, which is very much, I feel, is very important.
Well, I'm glad you're doing that, because that's really what this is. I wanted to do a femme fatale, if you like, some loose term I use, of women in rock, which they're ruling the roost at the moment. And I interviewed Cassidy Paris and her father when she came out. Great, lovely girl, a lot of talent. And I spoke to Loz Campbell as well, another one coming forward, really talented. And then we've got Beth Blade, who I'm speaking to next week. And I really was determined to have a chat with you. I mean, it's so good to see. It's so good to see. And I have a daughter myself, and it's so, I think the future, to look up to role models, and not just in in music, in art, in football, in sport. It's so great to see this equality now, but also I think something that's very, very important, for everyone is that sense of, look, I am who I am. I don't want to be affected by what's going on. I want to make my path and create my own path and be allowed to do so and not have obstacles in the way. So 10 out of 10 for doing that, Els, and you certainly are doing that. So going back to the start, the first, if you can remember back that far, who am I?
Who am I to me? The EP. Yeah, so that was recorded, I think, in 2014, and the story behind that, and essentially the beginning of the Elles Bailey project, is I was in an indie band up until 2011, I think. And then I was also, that sort of died out, and I was at university studying psychology, and I was meant to be writing my dissertation when a friend of mine just reached out. I hadn't spoken to him for a while. He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm meant to be writing my dissertation. He was like, why don't you come over to mine and we'll, like do some music. And I was a bit like, I haven't done music for a while, but yeah, okay. And that was Brian Banks. I went to school with his kids, so that's sort of how I knew him. And he'd worked with Michael Jackson and worked with Lionel Richie, and we just started making music together, with sort of not really with any direction, I guess. And then I started it, I don't know, just my voice sort of ended up, it just found I think it was getting huskier and more bluesier, and I just started writing in more of that ilk, I guess. But Who Am I to Me is very much a journey of just figuring out who Elles Bailey is as at the beginning of her sort of solo career, really.
It's nice to hear that, and you've got a supportive husband who's obviously very, very important to you, even though it sounds like he spends more time in the bathroom than you. And being a mother as well. I mean, how does that affect the way you go out, the way you perform, the way you live your life?
I mean, I'm definitely tireder than I used to be, so that in itself affects everything you do. But I think for now, it's important that everything I do, it's how do I say this, so that if I don't do anything just for the sake of doing it. There was a lot of time in my career when I said yes to everything, and now I have a child and I want to spend as much time as I possibly can at home, as well as being on tour. It's really important that the things I say yes to are just like the right things to say yes to. So, I think about the offers that I get offered now, because it's like, well, actually, that's going to take me away for so long. And if it's not right, then I say no now. So it's taught me that it's okay to say no, so that I can have as much quality time with my family.
It's so important. I mean, I've got 2 children, and they're my world. I've been aspiring musician, singer, whatever for years, but I'm really happy that I spent the time with my kids. To have that time, with the family, and to be there. And I think I appreciate it now. My son's developed as a guitarist, and my daughter plays football and sport, and they're very rounded. And I think I made some decisions which may be to my detriment career-wise. Who knows? But I think I'm really pleased, and I wouldn't change that for the world. I think you're lucky now, and you're in a position that people want you. People will come to you, and so you can say, look, no, I want to do this, I want to do that, this is family time. I mean, what a trip to New Zealand. I mean, what did you do out there? That must be fantastic.
So on day 2, I broke my phone. So that in itself was hugely annoying, but also incredibly liberating, because it meant I basically fell off the grid for as long as I possibly could. We flew into Auckland and we stayed with friends. So we did quite a lot of stuff, just like day tripping from Auckland to like Bethel's Beach and Piha. I very much wanted to get my teeth into the New Zealand countryside and coastline. So we did a lot of walking, as much as you can with a toddler. My husband with him on
the back,
on the back. So that was incredible. I did a gig on Waihi Beach. That was great. It meant I got a trip to the beach. And then we dodged a lot of bad weather. We had 5 days of ridiculous rain, and actually, my goodness, like the Auckland floods at the moment are just so desperately sad. I can't believe I got out like 4 days before the whole of Auckland basically flooded. And the international arrivals is under like 3 foot of water.
I saw that on the news.
Just I felt desperately sad, because so many people would have lost so much in those floods. And and then we also went to South Island as well. It's just an incredibly epic place. I've been to quite a lot of epic places in my life. The Rocky Mountains. I put Scotland up there. I think some of the most beautiful places in the world are in Scotland, like around the North Coast 500. But I think New Zealand is the prettiest, most dramatic place I've ever been, and that's also incredibly varying.
Definitely want to go there.
It's amazing, and you feel ridiculously close to nature and Mother Nature, I think, because also the fact that you're basically on a volcano as well. You know, Auckland is like 15 volcanoes, and there's huge volcanoes in the middle of New Zealand, so you sort of do feel incredibly close to the epicness that is
Very brave to take a toddler over there. I know I took my son when he was about nine weeks to Antigua. That was an experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Jasper did amazing. He was great. The flights over were fine. The flight back was okay. I mean, we were just all a bit knackered by then, and we flew through the night, like back. We basically had like 30 hours of night, but didn't really sleep.
Yeah, I know what that's like. I think it's but I like that we say about being a spiritual person, being a soulful person, being close to nature, and that seems important to you. And I think I learned a lot during lockdown myself about birds and trees, and newfound respect just being the stillness and peace of nature and respect for the trees. And I started reading up and found out that trees, they send these messages to trees that are not so well in the area to look after trees that are not well. And I thought, that's amazing. I know. It just so I'm not saying the lockdown was boring for me, but that's the sort of things that I was doing.
We adopted a baby jay that fell out of the tree just up there.
Oh,
so
wow.
that was our lockdown. I mean,
they're great in that part of the world, though. I mean, I was saying, I was talking to Cassidy in Paris about this, and saying that when I went to Australia, I'd seen a film as a kid called Picnic at Hanging Rock, and I met this guy out on the Barrier Reef, and I said to him that he said, "Is there anything you want to do?" I said, "I'd love to go to Hanging Rock." And he, on my last day, I've been there about 6 weeks. He just phoned me up out of the blue and said, "Hi, Matt, Steve, do you want to go?" And he took me there at 5 a.m, and the sun was just coming up, and it was just the most beautiful spiritual thing. I was crying. He broke me to me that story wasn't true. It was just a film, and then that was it, really.
But on the last day in New Zealand, my husband and our friend who was staying with him were like, right, we're going to do the sunrise because Ben had said, "Oh, you have to do sunrise on one day," because we were staying on the east side.
All right.
So the sunrise is in the east, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more of a sunset person. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm where it's at with the sunset, not sunrise. And so apparently they woke up at 5:30 in the morning and the sunrise was rubbish. I was like, thank goodness. So glad I didn't wake up for the sunrise.
Yeah. I know. I'm not with my wife. I was like, "You gotta get up, then. Leave me alone." They say the only two decent, was it Michael McIntyre said that? If the snow or a celebrity death are the only good ways you can actually wake your partner up in the morning at that time, not even for a good sunrise. Anyway, so musically, we've got to move on. Shining in the Half Light. Could you have imagined the success of it when you wrote it?
It's like I guess all you can do is when you make music is hope that you make music that relates to other people and that they like it. And so the fact that people did and it did so well, I think that's kind of what you can hope for, really. It was an incredibly bizarre few weeks, I'm not going to lie, especially because I was doing the release. So I was trying to understand the fact that I was now releasing an album at the kind of scale that I guess like even really big artists release at, it's all the same processes now. So I definitely know if, I could do it again, but it was a huge learning curve for me during that time, even though I've coordinated all my other album releases. Like this was like next level. And I'll never forget being in Bristol, just about to walk on stage at Rough Trade Records for the Record Store Tour, finding out that top 20 midweek chart position. And then I'm going to, let's say, Liverpool the next day, but my distributors are phoning me saying, HMV have sold out. We need an extra 1,000 copies of Shining to Dartford by tomorrow. And I was like, how, I'm going to Liverpool. How am I going to get copies of, so it was pretty crazy. I think we actually ended up sorting it out. So yeah, it was good. But I will say that, I expect I possibly didn't get a top 40 because, HMV sold out. So.
I was going to say, I read somebody, you got to number 42. Did a few more, if you shifted a few more boxes down there, that's what it was. I mean, what an amazing feeling. I mean, like, is that film, it's a Tom Hanks film, isn't it? That Thing You Do, where they hear this song for the first time on the radio. And I don't think it is. I mean,
I've seen that for ages, That Thing You Do. Who else is in that?
And I'm trying to think, they form a band. It's sort of like loosely based on a Beach Boys thing. Yeah.
I do remember that.
And it's just the way they hear the radio, but then they're all sort of running around with the old radio, that excitement of that.
Was it written about the Wonders? Was it the Wonders?
The Wonders, that's it, yeah. That's the band.
I have Charlize Theron on. Sorry, being very rude looking at that.
No, that's a carry on listening. I know what it's like with you ladies and phones. I'm not going to deny.
Yeah, I now have a phone. Legit.
That's good. It works, that one, does it?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, was it the Wonders? But it was like spelt like Wonders.
Yeah, the Wonders. Yeah, there was a little Tom Hanks little trick there that he did with the drum solo they did. But yeah, but I love that. I'm all into that. So you've got that. You suddenly get #1 blues album. You get awards for Americana. You've got an album that's a few more copies would have made the top 40, but it made the top 42, and that's pretty impressive. What are you working on at the moment? Is there a new album in the pipeline?
So I'm writing a new album. I've just been writing this morning, actually. When is this going out? When will this?
Probably next. I'm hoping next Friday. I think next Friday, not this Friday week. I think.
Okay, so I think by then I'll have let everybody know and hopefully have all my admin sorted. I'm releasing.
I can edit it.
I'm releasing a deluxe version of Shining in the Half-Light, which is a 19-track album.
Oh, look at that! I'm getting an exclusive.
And it's going to be digitally and on CD. We're not done a vinyl release this time around, but it's the CD like design. I mean, the original artwork is incredible, but this time around we've made it all silver metallic, and it's not just a card opener, it's like a triple card opener and stuff like that. So we've gone all out on the artwork for the CD, and it's got whole new artwork, and 19 tracks. It's got 2 new originals, it's got 2 covers from 2 of my favorite bands, and it's got 5 live tracks as well. So a lot of people were saying to me, "Els, please do a deluxe version of Shining with some live tracks." And so I did 5 live tracks, and then I felt like there was, that wasn't enough. So we went back in the studio in December, recorded completely live to tape, no computers allowed in the making of Shining in the Half-Light Deluxe Edition. We mixed it to tape as well. So it's all just done like with ears rather than being able to see anything. It was a really, really intriguing sort of process. So, and it was really hugely collaborative with sort of co-production between myself and my band, and then Peter Miles, who's the studio owner and engineer. So yeah, it's I'm really excited about that. And the first single is out on the 9th of February, which is called Hole in My Pocket, which is written with Matt Owens, who co-wrote Sunshine City with me. And we've actually been writing today, which has been really nice. And Matt was in Noah and the Whale, but life goes on. See what I did there? I
saw that. Very good. Very good. And there's an exclusive on Matt's chat. So I've got this. When this goes out, I think everyone's going to hear about it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's written about, I guess, essentially the realities of post-pandemic touring, which sounds like really clinical. And actually, like, I'm so in love with this song because it's a proper roots rocker, but it's just got I'm really proud of the lyrics.
Go on, sing it. Sing a bit of it. Go on.
I got a hole in my pocket. draining me dry, burning down miles as they're passing me by.
Oh, it's a banger. Love it.
Okay, you've got your exclusive right there.
I do. So you've got to sign me a copy. You've got to sign it though. Ellis Bailey on it.
Ellis Bailey.
Ellis Bailey. Who's a carpenter in Nottingham, but you got to put that on there anyway. Because
Elles Bailey is actually a rap artist, I think. So
is it?
Elles Bailey, not to be confused with
Not with a silent S. It's L. So that's it. The afternoon. So obviously, Els was painting when I disturbed her. She was obviously painting. I interrupted between recording and painting. She thought this was going to be an audio interview, so obviously she had to go and disappear. And I mean, she looked beautiful anyway, but you know, she always does. I literally spent 5 hours in the salon to get my hair just to look this good, just to talk to her.
I love it. You've got to so much effort, and here I am. I don't even remember when I last washed my hair. This is rock and roll for you.
This is proper rock and roll. This is absolutely. But yeah, I'm definitely. So the concerts start when? When can we come and see you play?
So I'm on tour from March, basically. 3rd of March, I play in Cardiff, then Exeter. Then we head to Liverpool. We go to Hull. We go to Sunderland, Leeds, York, Edinburgh, Wolverhampton, London, Brighton, Cambridge, Southampton, Sheffield, and Nottingham.
Brilliant.
So that's but March to May, basically.
And this tour is fast selling out. So you haven't got a ticket now. You better hurry up because it's
exactly.
Fast.
Yeah, we've got actually last weekend we played in Manchester and Milton Keynes at the Stables sold out. So that's super.
Well, I should be coming to one of them, either the London, Southampton, or something that I can get to. If I'm not gigging, I'll be down definitely. You recognise me because of the hair, obviously, don't you?
Exactly, the beautiful, glamorous hair. You'll recognise me because of the grease, right?
Oh no! Listen, this has been an absolute pleasure and honour to talk to you. So we got the exclusive there about what's happening with Elles Bailey and the future. She's an absolute superstar. She's really modest, lovely, easy to approach. It's not gone to her head. She's family orientated. She knows what's important in life. And she should definitely take up doing bedtime stories. I think that's something you should look at doing.
That's so funny. I've literally, I've had the worst jet lag ever. And I was like, I just want someone with a really lovely voice to read me a story. So maybe that's me.
Read yourself a story. Oh, no, if you do one, I want a version. My favourite is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So if you can do that one, I like that. Listen, Els, I know you're busy. Listen, I'll let you crack on. Thank you so much for being on Matt's Chats and being such a lovely person. Your radio show is back on Saturdays on Planet Rock soon, is it?
It is, yeah. It's back and better than ever.
Excellent, brilliant stuff. And you can catch her on tour. Check out from our website, EllesBailey.com.
EllesBailey.com. Boom.
Go there. We can do that. Listen, you have a great afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure speaking with you. God bless you. And
thanks, love. God bless. We'll
see you later.
soon.
Bye.
Yes, bye.